Hello, good morning or afternoon. Welcome to the first lesson of our first unit of chemistry. This lesson's elements and compounds. We're going to be learning the foundational terms and concepts of chemistry so you're ready for all the things that we're going to be experiencing. So we're going to learn what a chemical is, how to specifically define it, how to define an element, and to talk about what a compound is. And then last, what are chemical formulas? Because yes, there are formulas in chemistry, just like in algebra. So first of all, this pretty cool experiment right here. What is chemistry? So the definition is that it's the study of the properties of chemicals and how they interact, combine, and change, as well as the use of those processes to form new substances, like we see in the video here, to make new things out of other things that are chemicals. The simple idea is that we study what chemicals are, we experiment with them, and we use them to make useful chemicals for other applications. Some examples would be like washing dishes, creating makeup, real explosions in movies. These all involve chemical processes. So what is a chemical then? Well, it's any substance of matter that has a defined composition. There's some fancy words I know. A simple version is a chemical is anything we can name that takes up physical space and always has the exact same stuff in it. Water, it's a chemical. Oxygen, chemical. Carbon, chemical, right? Some examples here we have ice, water, salt, sugar, acetone, baking soda. Chemicals are one substance, though. It's one thing. Multiple substances that are mixed together, like soda, concrete, shampoo, is a collection of chemicals. Okay? So what's an element? So way back in ancient Greece, Democritus of Abdera proposed a thought experiment. And that means like you think about a thing, you don't actually do it, but you think about it and try to figure out what would happen if it actually did happen. What if you cut something in half over and over and over? And unlike our little GIF here, it doesn't magically regrow back to its old size. The smallest possible piece, when you could stop cutting it, because at that point it would stop being water, it stopped being salt, it stopped being sugar, right? At the point where you can't cut it anymore, they called it atomos in Greek. Now, we call the indivisible pieces of matter atoms, from the Greek atomos, right? Now, what is an element? So in ancient history, and this is all across the world, from China to Greece to many indigenous cultures, they thought the world was made by mixing up the elements. Water, fire, earth, air are pretty common. When we discovered atoms really exist, we called each unique kind of atom an element. Now, every element is one particular kind of atom that we've discovered, and it has identical properties, chemical properties, to every other atom of that element. Every atom of water is like every other atom of water. Now, what is a compound? Now, if all atoms in an object are the same, it's an elemental object. We usually say pure, like pure gold. Goldfinger here is a favorite thing. Elemental oxygen and elemental hydrogen, or pure oxygen, pure hydrogen, are also things. But what if the object has a mix of atoms? So here they have different kinds of atoms connected into a molecule. Just at each little tiny unit that is the connection of things. So over here we can see this molecule has 3 atoms in it. And now, compounds are chemicals. The exact atoms in a compound are always the same in a molecule like of this, right? So water here is being displayed on your screen, hydrogen and oxygen. Table salt, the salt that you eat, is sodium and chlorine, or chloride put together. Now, what is a chemical formula? Chemical formulas model the atoms in each molecule of a substance. And model just means gives you a picture of it in some way. It's a way to talk about it, to describe it, to think about it that is a little more simple. Models always give up some of the information to focus on what is important to you in the moment. So this picture we have is a visual model of a molecule of water, like I mentioned. And like I said, it's the smallest individual piece of a substance. Water cannot get any smaller than one big piece and two small pieces, whatever those are. Okay, so it would be hard to draw this every time we want to talk about the chemical formula of water. Every time we want to point out how there's this one big piece and two small pieces. I'm sure you've heard of H2O, right? There's two hydrogens and one oxygen. Drawing this whole thing every time we talk about what water is made of would be a pain. So we write it out, and here's an example. H, little baby 2, O, little baby L in parentheses. And the H says there's a hydrogen. The O says there's oxygen. That subscript says there's two hydrogen. H2, there's two H's. So two hydrogens in this molecule of water. And that little parenthetical note that has L in it says that it's a liquid phase. This is water you can drink. It's not water vapor, it's not ice. H2OL would be water you could drink.